remember texting me. I would never do anything to hurt her. I swear on my life. Ashley is my ride and die. Do you remember that? Do you? Ashley was already dead and dismembered when you text that to me.
This is the moment that Christine Young finally got the opportunity to take her frustration out on the man who brutally murdered her daughter. The murderer, Jared Chance, was a longtime friend of Christine's daughter, Ashley Young. On November 28, 2018, Ashley drove from her hometown of Kalamazoo, Michigan to Grand Rapids to meet up with Jared for what was supposed to be a fun night. But the reality was much darker. Upon her arrival, Jared, Ashley, and Mario, the downstairs neighbor, went up to Jared's apartment and hung out. A few hours later, Jared and Ashley decided to head out for a few drinks in the city. The pair were spotted at a hookah lounge and at Mulligan's Irish Bar in the Easttown district of the city. Then, at around 1:39 a.m., Ashley was spotted on CCTV at a liquor store close to Jared's apartment. This would be the final sighting of Ashley alive. On the morning of November 29, 2018, Ashley and her mother Christine were due to meet to sign the lease on her new apartment, but Christine couldn't reach Ashley. She kept texting her daughter, but every text she sent was met with radio silence. As the hours rolled by, Christine began to grow more and more concerned. Eventually, she gave up on trying to contact Ashley and instead contacted Jared. She knew the two had been together the night before, so she figured that he would know where she was. However, after contacting Jared, Christine was left with more questions than answers. Jared told Christine that Ashley had lost her phone and that she had now gone to collect it before heading home to Kalamazoo. Jared also informed Christine that Ashley went to hang out with one of his friends, Demetrius Taylor. He then gave Christine Demetrius's phone number. However, when Christine reached out to Demetrius, he categorically denied any knowledge of Ashley or having spent any time with her. At this point, Christine was incredibly concerned for her daughter's well-being, so she contacted the authorities for help. Unfortunately, given the relatively brief duration of Ashley's absence, the police initially provided limited support, leaving Ashley's mother deeply frustrated. In the days that followed, Jared's mother Barbara, his father James, and his younger brother Conrad came to collect Jared from his apartment in Grand Rapids and take him to the family home in Holland, Michigan. CCTV footage captured Jared placing several suspicious-looking boxes, a mop, and a few other items into the vehicle's trunk, which was subsequently transported to the Chance family's residence in Holland. The following day, on December 2nd, Jared's father took him back to Grand Rapids, and the two were spotted on CCTV heading into the local police station. It was at the local police station that Jared informed the police that he had some information about the missing woman from Kalamazoo. According to Jared, the police told him that he was better off talking to the police in Kalamazoo, and shortly after arriving, both Jared and his father left. But in the meantime, the Grand Rapids police were about to make a disturbing discovery. Mario, Jared's downstairs neighbor, began to smell a strange, off-putting odor in his apartment. He wasn't quite sure what it could be, so he decided to venture down into the basement of the two-story building. It was in the basement that Mario discovered a black tarp stained with blood. Mario immediately called the cops, and they arrived on the scene shortly after. Upon arrival, the police grew increasingly concerned. By this time, they were aware that Ashley had been reported as missing, and Jared happened to be the last individual known to have met her. As the officers ventured into the basement, they discovered the blood-soaked tarp, and upon lifting it up, they saw the mutilated torso of a female. Later that evening, law enforcement raided Jared's apartment on the second floor, where Jared was apprehended and taken into police custody.
Police on the search warrant! Come to the door!
Okay, the tarp is laying on the stairs, about the last 3 stairs.
Come on down. Hands on top of your head.
We're gonna call him right into that kitchen.
Hands on your head!
What's your name? What's your last name? You're a Chance?
Putting the seatbelt around you, alright?
You put the seatbelt on when you get it back there, that's fine.
Alright.
Jared was charged with concealing a death and the mutilation of a corpse. Shortly after arriving at the police station, he was placed in an interrogation room, where he gave this interview.
We appreciate the fact that you came in earlier, and I'm sorry you got turned away.
Yeah, no, I just came in just because I read on Facebook that the last person this person was with was me, so I was just concerned. I'm trying to get some information about it, but my dad just recommended me to just ask for the advice of attorney, and because I don't really know what the hell's going on, so I don't want to sit here and talk about shit that may incriminate me or whatever in any kind of way, because I don't know what's going on. So I just don't want to say nothing right now.
As Jared was being interviewed, a thorough search of his property was underway. It was during this search that police found a brown box. Inside that box lay the arms and legs of a young woman, but despite the extensive search inside Jared's apartment, police could not locate the head of the corpse. This prompted police to switch their attention to the Chance family home in Holland, Michigan. On December 5th, 2018, police raided the Chance residence and made a series of shocking discoveries. Blood was found inside their car, and most disturbingly, an electric saw was discovered underneath the couch. The saw appeared to have blood on it, as well as human tissue. It was determined that Jared's parents, Barbara Chance, and retired police officer James Chance had some involvement in their son's crime, and as a result, both his parents were charged with perjury and accessory after the fact. 2 days later, on December 7th, Christine Young's worst nightmares would come true. The DNA analysis performed on the human torso discovered in Jared's apartment yielded a positive match with Ashley's genetic profile. Her mother was devastated. Following this, the Kent County Prosecutor's Office charged Jared Chance with open murder and tampering with evidence. Jared was now facing a very hefty punishment, one that would likely see him rot in a cell for the rest of his life. But in September 2019, he was offered a lifeline. Jared was offered a plea deal that would see him serve a minimum of 31 years behind bars, meaning that there could be a possibility that at some point in his lifetime, he would be a free man. All Jared needed to do was confess his crimes, reveal what happened to Ashley's missing remains, and plead guilty to all charges. Everyone expected Jared would take the deal, but for some reason, he turned it down and opted to go to trial. The trial of Jared Chance commenced on September 10th, 2019, and highlighted just how deranged Jared was. During the court proceedings, Mario Nelson, Jared's neighbor, recounted an unsettling conversation with Jared prior to the crime that left him deeply disturbed. During the conversation, Mario testified that whilst holding a .22 caliber revolver, Jared confidently asserted that he possessed the knowledge to commit murder and evade capture successfully. Jared's younger brother Conrad shared a similar disturbing story in court. Conrad claimed that in the days preceding the killing, Jared had become increasingly obsessed with his Smith & Wesson .22 caliber revolver. Conrad went on to claim that at one point, Jared emptied it of ammunition, pointed it at him, and pulled the trigger. Given the compelling testimonies and the undeniable evidence of the mutilated remains discovered in Jared's possession, the jury found themselves with little to contemplate during the deliberations. On October 9th, 2019, Jared Chance was charged with the death and dismemberment of Ashley Young. Judge Mark Trusock sentenced him to a minimum of 100 to 200 years in prison, stating that he wouldn't be eligible for parole until he was 130 years old.
You, sir, in my mind, are a very evil individual. You are clearly a monster without any conscience whatsoever, and you are someone who is a danger to society and should never be allowed free. Accordingly, it is the sentence of this court with regards to the second-degree murder that you be committed to the Michigan Department of Corrections to serve a minimum of 100 years to a maximum of 200 years.
After Jared's imprisonment, his mother and father both stood trial for their involvement in the crime. Barbara and James Chance were found guilty of being accessory after the fact. 65-year-old Barbara Chance was sentenced to just 45 days in prison, whilst her 78-year-old husband, James Chance, received a mere 30-day sentence. It was also granted, albeit perceived by many as unfair, that their sentence could be carried out at different times to allow one of them to be present at home to care for their son, Conrad. Their exact involvement in the crime was never fully understood and most likely never will. What else has never been fully understood is the motive of Jared's crime. What caused him to lash out and kill such a sweet, innocent woman? Unless Jared tells us, we will likely never know. Do you think that Jared's parents got off too lightly considering the extreme nature of the crime? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, if you enjoyed this video, watch our video on the brutal murder of Marcel Hill. Thank you for watching.